A line of trucks loaded with soybeans crosses the interior of Brazil. Dust, diesel, expensive freight, and long roads are all part of the journey before the harvest reaches the rail line. In Mato Grosso, this scenario reveals a contradiction. One of the largest agricultural hubs in Brazil has grown faster than the railway infrastructure. Now, an expansion of the tracks is trying to change this logic. It's the Mato Grosso State Railway, or Senator Vicente Emilio Volo Railway. The project is described by Rumo as the largest railway project currently under construction in the country. There are about 740 kilometers planned to bring the tracks closer to the production areas and integrate Mato Grosso into the railway network, which heads toward the port of Santos. More than just adding tracks, the project aims to reorganize the logistics map of Brazilian agribusiness. Stay with us for the next few minutes and understand why this corridor could reshape the route of Mato Grosso's production to the global market. The Mato Grosso State Railway starts from Rondonópolis, where there is already a connection with the North Network. Currently, this point is one of the main railway gateways of the state to the logistics corridor that leads toward the port of Santos. The current full expansion foresees about 740 kilometers of tracks, with a connection from Rondonópolis to Lucas do Rio Verde, in addition to the planned branch line to Cuiabá. Altogether, the line is expected to cross 16 municipalities in Mato Grosso, including strategic areas for agribusiness and industry. The first phase of this project is about 162 kilometers long and goes up to Damaquino, where the new terminal on BR-070 is located. The first phase is designed to receive cargo transported by trucks and transfer it to trains. In practice, of course, the trucks don't disappear. They start making shorter trips to the transfer terminals, while the train takes over the long-distance transportation. But, given such an obvious need, why did the tracks take so long to advance through the productive territory of Mato Grosso? The history of this railway is born from a paradox. Mato Grosso is an agricultural powerhouse, responsible for a huge share of the country's grain production. Even so, for a long time it had a small railway network compared to the size of its economy. According to the State Secretary of Infrastructure and Logistics of Mato Grosso, SINFRA, the state had only 366 kilometers of railways in place. However, it accounts for almost 30% of the national grain production. This gap between production and infrastructure created a bottleneck. Trucks traveled long distances, putting pressure on highways, increasing logistics costs and creating a dependence on land routes to reach railway or port shipping points. In 2021, Mato Grosso established its own railway authorization model, allowing private companies to build, operate, and manage sections within the state, at their own risk and expense. The freight railway operator, Rumo, submitted a proposal to implement the line connecting Rondonópolis to Cuiabá, Nova Mutum, and Lucas do Rio Verde. After the public call, the company signed the adhesion contract with the government of Mato Grosso, with the intervention of AGER, the state regulatory agency. From then on, the railway expansion stopped being just a long-standing demand of the productive sector and became a project under execution. According to Rumo, construction began in 2022 at the Rondonópolis Railway Terminal, the starting point for the track extension. The challenge then was no longer to prove that Mato Grosso needed a railway. A full-scale logistics backbone began to be built in the middle of Brazil's largest agricultural hub. The Mato Grosso State Railway entered 2026 with its first phase in the delivery stage. According to Rumo, the delivery of the railway section between Rondonópolis and Damaquino, as well as the BR-070 terminal, was scheduled for June 2026. Even so, the status needed to be read accurately. Delivering or inaugurating the infrastructure does not necessarily mean operating at full capacity on the same day. It's no coincidence that the first commercial operation of the train section, the 162-kilometer stretch, is expected to begin between July and September of 2020. Technically, this initial phase functions as an extension of the Malha Norte. The route starts from the Rondonópolis Railway Terminal and goes up to the Dom Aquino region on BR-070. The package includes the railway platform, track superstructure, special engineering works, drainage, yards, road access, and transport terminal. The superstructure is the operational layer of the railway track. After earthworks and drainage come the ballast, sleepers, rails, fastenings, leveling, and alignment. It is this combination that allows the weight of the trains to be distributed, maintains geometric stability, and reduces deformations when loaded trains start running. In the first 160 kilometers, the superstructure works involve installing sleepers, positioning the rails, and compacting the ballast. Among the structures already completed are the Rio Vermelho Bridge, as well as other works between kilometer 0 and 162. These elements allow the railway to cross rivers, highways, valleys, environmental areas, and urban interface zones without interrupting the railway line. The BR-070 terminal is the main cargo transfer point of this stage. It was designed to receive trucks, weigh cargo, unload grains, store volumes, and load the wagons. The facility will have an operational capacity of up to 10 million tons per year with 5 truck dumpers and the ability to unload between 30 and 35 trucks per hour. At the other end of the process, the rail loading will be able to handle 16 wagons per hour. The complex will also have 4 truck scales, static storage capacity of up to 40 to 42,000 tons, and parking for up to 200 to 250 trucks. In other words, it's not just a railway station, but an industrial cargo transfer system. The total area of the terminal reaches 200 hectares, or 2 square kilometers, with a little more than a quarter of that being built-up area. This allows for the separation of incoming and outgoing flows, waiting areas, support structures for drivers, unloading equipment, storage, and rail loading. In fact, in facilities like this, the operational design is just as important as the tracks. Internal cues, unloading speed, and synchronization with the trains determine the efficiency of the system. The rail yard also includes areas for train assembly, maneuvers, inspections, and operational holding. This ensures that the cargo leaves in batches compatible with locomotives, wagons, and circulation windows. Construction also requires drainage works. On a heavy freight railway, accumulated water compromises the ballast, weakens embankments, and can deform the track geometry. That's why culverts, drainage channels, catchment structures, and drainage structures are essential parts of the engineering, even though they rarely appear in the most spectacular images of the project. Another important aspect of the project is earthworks. The route needs to overcome elevation differences while maintaining slopes compatible with freight rail operations. Unlike a highway, a railway tolerates less inclination because with long and heavy trains, they lose efficiency on steep slopes. This requires cuts, embankments, slope stabilization, and geotechnical controls. The project also involves its own construction logistics, transportation of rails, sleepers, gravel, track equipment, welding machines, gantries, cranes, and specialized teams. Instead, the work advances in mobile work fronts along the route. That's why the first phase is more than just the delivery of 162 kilometers. It's the implementation of a complete technical chain, infrastructure, superstructure, terminal, yards, civil works, operating systems, and integration with trucks. This set is what transforms the grain that arrives by highway into long-distance rail cargo. To understand the scale of this project, imagine a ribbon of track crossing the productive heart of Brazil. It's not an urban line, nor a short auxiliary branch line. It's an attempt to place the largest agricultural state in the country within a long-distance railway logistics system. With about 740 kilometers planned, the project is almost twice the length of the first section of the Integration Railway, the Central West Integration Railway FICO, which is 383 kilometers long, between Mara Rosa in Goiás and Agua Boa in Mato Grosso. It also comes close in concept to the 933 kilometers planned for the Ferrogrão, which is designed to connect Sinop in Mato Grosso to Mirituba in Pará. An interesting difference is that the Ferrogrão still faces environmental, legal, and regulatory discussions, while the Mato Grosso State Railway already has its first phase nearing completion. Compared to the Transnordestina, the Mato Grosso project is smaller in total length, but it has a similar function, bringing production areas closer to major export corridors. The Transnordestina is over 1,200 kilometers long and aims to connect the interior of the Northeast to the port of Pence in Ceará. Outside Brazil, there are parallels in scale and function. The Island Rail in Australia is a freight rail corridor of about 1,600 kilometers between Melbourne and Brisbane, designed to connect producing regions to national and global markets. When it comes to money, just the first phase of the Mato Grosso State Highway had an investment of approximately 5 billion reais. That's equivalent to buying almost 67,000 economy cars, each costing 75,000 reais. Buy? The future of the Mato Grosso State Railway depends on the progress of the next phases, as well as the terminal on BR-070. The initial section creates a transfer point with a capacity of up to 10 million tons per year. The complete plan foresees about 740 kilometers of tracks, connecting Rondonópolis to Lucas do Rio Verde with a branch line to Cuiabá. According to BNDES, the construction of the railway is expected to generate 114,000 jobs. Materials from Rumo from the project itself mention higher estimates when considering direct, indirect, and induced impacts throughout the entire implementation. Another key detail concerns the company's operations. Rumo intended to surpass 90 billion TKU tons transported per useful kilometer in 2026. There is also the environmental impact. The project's official page states that, in freight transport by rail, greenhouse gas emissions are 6 times lower compared to other modes of transportation. It's an important projection, especially in a logistics chain that is still very dependent on trucks. If it moves forward as planned, the railway tends to reduce logistics costs and bring rail transport closer to the producing regions. The first delivery is a milestone. The complete transformation depends on the rest of the network. The Mato Grosso State Railway is not just a line on the map, it is an attempt to bring rail closer to where production happens that drives an essential part of the Brazilian economy. If it delivers on its promises, it could turn long distances into more efficient routes, make trucks a complement to the railway, and turn an old bottleneck into a new growth corridor. In Mato Grosso, the future of agribusiness may increasingly move by rail. Thank you for watching this video until the end. What do you think about this amazing state railway in Mato Grosso? Have you heard about it? Yes or no? Leave your answer in the comments. I'll stop here. Take care and see you in the next video.